And I learned how to play Caledonia. You remember Caledonia?
No, I don't remember Caledonia.
You don't remember anything.
I don't remember that one. I got video of Lonnie Hampton with his suit on and his band behind him. They all dressed to the T.
Well, Caledonia was a song.
Okay.
You know, dun da da da. Dun da 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 dun da 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 da. I learned that on the marimbas, you know. Da da da. Dun da 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 dun da da da. The bass was like the band behind me.
Yeah, because I saw the guys standing up with
ding 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 ding, and then made you feel real good when you had that rhythm behind you and it was kicking like that. But I won first prize that night.
Is that what made you decide you wanted to do music after that, or did you?
No, I already wanted to do music.
You already knew that.
So, but I got on that amateur hour. And I won first prize, and the same band that was playing behind me at this club that had the amateur, I later joined that when I became older, when I was around about say about 21 years old. I joined that band because they had a hit record out called Tenderly. The band was called Lynn Hope.
Okay.
The Lynn Hope band, and I joined him after college. I went to college for about a year and a half, but around Cincinnati, I learned how to write music by being out with a fella, Frank Foster was his name.
Okay.
He later he was the one that took over the Count Basie orchestra when Count died. But we were good friends back in high school, and I would always go out with him to different places. We would go out and see people like Lester Young, tenor saxophone player, and Fats Navarro, and a whole lot of other popular horn players and rhythm players. And he would always have arrangements under his arm. He was about 19 years old, but he was writing charts, and I was always with him, so I learned a lot from him. And then he showed me how to put ideas on paper. I had a lot of ideas, but I didn't know how to write them down. So he taught me some music, and showed me how to, showed me the value of different notes and everything.
Right.
And then I went on to learn how to write music, myself, and then he gave me some pointers on how to make arrangements, arrange things for like an orchestra or something like that. And so I started off arranging things like for not really arranging. Then I would write melodies out for different groups that I played with.
Right.
But back in those days, it was a music called bebop. Bebop music, and just Charlie Parker and all them, Dizzy Gillespie.
Know about Dizzy.
Yeah, and Miles Davis and people like that, and Milt Jackson. They played bebop. So back then there were a lot of groups out, the rhythm and blues groups back then. Also, a lot of jazz orchestras. And Erskine Hawkins and people like that.
Right.
Well, I told you like Lonnie Hampton before, and then there were jazz players like I told you, Bird, Monk, Thelonious Monk, and played piano, and Bud Powell and people like that. And also there were people like a young saxophone player, Johnny Griffin, from Detroit, and when he came out around 1949, boy, he took over the whole jazz scene.
Wow.
They called him the Little Monster. He played some sax, and then him and Eddie Lockjaw Davis got together and hooked up and playing, like as a duo. And boy, you talking about some good saxophone playing. And there were a lot of other saxophone players too, like Lester Young. And I really liked the way he played too, but I never got to play with him. But it was another saxophone player that played with Lonnie Hampton. His name was Illinois Jacket. I got a chance to play with him. I think it was around 1959.
Okay.
And at the same time, I was playing with Lynn Hope. So I played with a lot of different musicians, and I had the opportunity to sit in with Bird, you know, Charlie Parker. But at the time, it was up in Boston. See, we were playing on the same bill, and they had this amusement park. One stage would be over here, another stage over there, and the other stages, they had stages all over the place with different bands in it. So the one next to us was Bird, you know, Charlie Parker, and I asked, cause he could hear me playing when we played our set, because he wasn't playing, he was just sitting there at that time. He was especially sitting there because at that time his leg was broke, you know, and he had a cast on his leg. But I asked him, could I sit in with him? And he said, yeah, I can sit in. You can sit in with me. But my vibraphones was, you know, I couldn't get up on the stage. The stage that he was playing on was too high, and I would have to lift those vibes up there, and it was too much of a struggle. So, but I did get to meet him there for the first time, and then I knew him from later on. I saw him a lot of times when he was in Philadelphia, and met him at the Blue Note and everything. So I was around those kind of people, you know, and also there were a lot of Willie Bobo and people like that, Mongo Santa Maria and other places, because we all played on the same bill, and it was real nice.
Out of all of those people, if it's any of those people, who was your biggest influence to take you to the next level? Lionel Hampton?
Lionel Hampton, when I heard him in 1946.
Right. Because you went from a jazz background to the heart and soul of the Philadelphia sound. Yeah. Which that was a different type of sound that, you know, from when I hear the OJ's, I don't hear a lot of jazz in the OJ's music. Or when I heard Aretha Franklin, you know, I didn't hear a lot of jazz. That was like a totally different type of style, that Motown type of thing that was going on.
The rest is history. You know, those people became, you know, big, and that's when, after then, that's when I got with a couple of producers there in Philadelphia, Gamma and Huff, and then it wound up into a long career of hit records.
Yeah, it did.
We recorded the OJ's, Billy Paul, Hal Melvin, the Blue Notes, the Intruders, and then I had a thing on a record called A Horse by Cliff Noble, and you know, When We Get Married by the Dream Lovers, and I had a whole lot of hits. Nancy Wilson, Wilson Pickett, Jerry Butler. You know, and oh man, hundreds.
When I looked through that, you remember the documentary?
Yeah.
When I looked through that, I saw out of 100 songs, I think they had you at like 60 songs on there.
Yeah.
And then out of the 80 pages of the book, you own like 30 of the 80 pages in the book.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, and it's like, the studios, you can see like you sitting behind stuff and sitting with the, you know, the Quincy Joneses and all these people. I was like, man, that must have been something.